Hello and welcome, friends, folks, family, one and all, to First Issue Club, your your favorite comic book podcast, where just like Sue Storm, we love a good read. Uh, this is a little bit of a different episode. Mike D and Greg are both sick. I am Vargas, feeling healthy, feeling fine, bringing you down to the basement dungeon. Uh, that we've been in the house for 2 years, still haven't cleaned it. We've been a little busy for 2 years. Sure, that's going to be my excuse, but thank you for joining me. um Hopefully you find this entertaining. uh Again, this is going to be a little different because not only am I solo, I didn't make it to the shop this week. So I'm going to talk about, well, I guess I have one fairly new book. I read the Marvel Rivals digital book on uh, Marvel Unlimited. So I'll talk about that for a little bit, but I also have a little pile here of indie books that I've read kind of throughout the years that I've really enjoyed. Um, Hopefully you'll enjoy them, enjoy hearing me talk about them. Uh, Fire off in our Discord. Let me know how bad this episode was, or if it was the best episode and I should just keep doing this by myself and kick the other guys off. Uh, yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, we've got a Patreon where you can support us for the price of a comic every month or $1 every month. We got a couple of different tiers. We've got our Discord where uh, we've got a great community of comic book and nerd fanatics. Uh, Met some of the great people in here um, that if you join, you will also come to love. We embrace anybody with open arms. Um, what's the other housekeeping thing? Duh. Boulevard. Couldn't be here without our friends at Boulevard, Space Camper, Cosmic IPA, Yum Yum, give me some down in my tum tum. Uh, and I'll tell you guys, I'll spill the beans because I'm the only one here. We had a meeting with them last week about some of the stuff we're going to do at Planet Comic Con KC. And let me tell you, I could not be more excited. Um, Great people over at Boulevard. Love talking to them, love teaming with them. So thank you, Boulevard, for sponsoring us and letting us, uh, do what we do. And couldn't do it without you. So, with all of that housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about some indie books. Well, no, we'll talk about Marvel first. So I read Marvel Rivals out on it's a digital only for now. Um, and it was launched, I'm sure, in time with the game. Um, and I'm just now reading it, but so the story is that Galacta, the daughter of Galactus, is kind of like the watcher in this corner of the universe. And a bunch of heroes from different universes have all collided. So it's kind of, I mean, it's Battle World, but Battle World for casuals, right? Where if you're not a hyper nerd and you don't know what Battle World is, you can just accept that these heroes are from different universes. So they are thrown together, and in this first issue, um, because these universes are thrown together, the weave, I think it's the weave, uh, with Spider Zero and all those like Spider Verse folks. It's what holds the universe together, holds fate and destiny and time and space and all that stuff, holds it together. Well, it is breaking, and you've got Spider Zero and the Weaver, who are kind of responsible for maintaining that connection, and so they're arguing about the best way to repair it. And Spider Zero wants to plug the Weave into the the Digiverse and be a Digimon. to repair it because it'll be faster because computers are faster. And the Weaver is a boomer and he wants to do it the old-fashioned way with gears and steampunk. Um, and so they form two teams of heroes to fight about it. Uh, and that's kind of all this book is. I wasn't expecting, you know, Arkham Asylum. I wasn't expecting, anything deep and thought provoking and emotional. And I didn't get it. But you know what? I had a lot of fun. Um, it's extremely lighthearted. Uh, it would be an awesome jumping on point if anybody's got um, kids, preteens, teens that are into the game that want to know more about these characters. Uh, this is an awesome jumping on point. Um, I will continue. I read the first two issues, I guess, and it was characters interacting in very fun ways and fighting each other. I don't know if the story evolves to be more uh, thought provoking or engaging story, but as for now, they're fighting. And what else do you need? It's action figures banging together, and sometimes that's okay. We don't need Frank Miller level or Alan Moore every time we read a comic book. You know, just don't need it. So Marvel Rivals out on Marvel Unlimited. Uh, Go out and read it. It was fun. It was fine. All right. So I have a stack of indies. Some of them are more indie than others, but uh, no, no big two. I think the biggest one I have on here is Dark Horse book, but a couple Kickstarter books, couple of big names, and a whole bunch of small names. So first one I have on here is Killaroo, Old Man Rufus. This is a Kickstarter book that I picked up. Uh, Written by that guy Darren Close and Ryan Vella did the art. Um, what is Old Man Rufus? So this is the Old Man Logan of this series about Killaroo, who is Australia's answer to what? Somewhere between Wolverine and Captain America and Toxic Avenger, where the government mutated this kangaroo to be like the ultimate weapon, and he escaped, and now he roams the outback, kind of swamp thing, avenging people. But this book specifically takes it whatever 20 years into the future where society has collapsed and Rufus is still around kicking ass. So um why did I back this book? Every once in a while I get a wild hair up my ass and decide to back a really interesting indie book, and this kind of hit all the notes for me. I like a post-apocalypse. I like an anthropomorphic badass. Um and it was Australian. I've never read an Australian comic book before. Um but it was very cool. It came with I won't I think it was an origin story. I don't know if it was the first book in the Rufus series, but it was an origin. Um and I would recommend it. I think it was not worth the purchase price to have it shipped from Australia, I'll say that. But go find Darren's whatever Blue Sky account and go buy digital copies of all these Rufus books because they were a hoot, man. Um, this is like totally what indie comics should be. Uh, pretty pretty lo-fi, fairly low stakes. I don't like it when comic books, indie books, try and have their hero, save the multiverse in like issue one because it's not Superman, right? Like we need to know who your guy is. Um, before we're ready to accept the fact that he can save the galaxy. Uh, and Old Man Rufus nails this really well. There's a lot of, uh, I'll say, human characters but I mean human in that they have humanity. Um, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. I really liked Old Man Rufus. Really am hoping to get more of this content. I don't know if Old Man Rufus is going to continue, but uh, Killaroo has been going for a while, if memory serves. So, uh, again, Darren Close is the writer and I think the shepherd of the Killaroo series. So go find him on socials. Support Killaroo. It was a good time. This is not a Kickstarter book, and a far bigger name than Darren. No offense, Darren, but Paul Pope's Battling Boy. I was shocked when Mike D told me he had never read Battling Boy. I want to say I bought a copy because it was on clearance and gave it to him just because I could not stand to see Battling Boy in the clearance section. So, um, not only, I mean, if you see a copy of Battling Boy, get it just for the art. Paul Pope's art is insane. Um, I cannot imagine meeting this guy or getting a sketch from him. He's one of those, if I would ever own Paul Pope original art, that's like a gem in the crown jewel of my collection, right? It's like it would be absolutely one of the peaks of my collection. Um, but on top of all that, uh, Battling Boy is a fun book. It's about a kid who, and it's been a while since I've read it, so please forgive me. I'm going to get some of the details wrong, but uh, he is the son of a god, and it's kind of the Thor story, right? Where he's kind of arrogant, um, or he needs to prove himself. So he gets cast down to, um, not Earth, but whatever Earth, and monsters are roaming around, and the biggest hero in the city is dead, and Battling Boy needs to step up and help this city from defended from all these monsters. Um, but the fun thing about Battling Boy is, again, I'm gonna get this wrong, but he has different shirts, and whatever shirt he's wearing, he like gets those powers or can turn into it. So like he wears a T-Rex shirt and he can turn into a T-Rex. Uh it's so much fun. Um I would love to recommend this for, I'll say, high school kids. I don't know that I would give it to anybody below that because I think there's some swearing and kissing and stuff. Um but man, it is so much fun. They did two follow-up books. One's a prequel and then they did a sequel book, but Battling Boy, I tell you, if you can, if you see it on the shelf, just buy it because it is well worth your time. This is another Kickstarter, but uh, uh a bigger name. Two big names, I guess I should say. Harold Schechter is a true crime author, and he paired with Eric Powell of Goon fame to write "Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Done?" And this is the true account of Ed Gein. And if you don't know who Ed Gein is, he was the inspiration for Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One of the inspirations for Hannibal Lecter. One of the inspirations for, I mean, name like a serial killer in a movie, and there's some Ed Gein here. Um, he only, I think, ended up killing two people. But his big claim to infamy is that he uh, is a grave robber and made household accoutrements out of some of his victims. And that's all I'll say about that. But this book, um, it gets gruesome at times if you're into that, but it's it's more it goes hand in hand with the investigation of what he did, with telling the story of Ed Gein's life and the people of Plainfield, Wisconsin, that were surrounding him. Um, and on top of that, you get Eric Powell's art, which is, I mean, second to none, and it pairs so well with a true crime narrative. Um, it's all in black and white, and it is just gorgeous. Super engaging story. Um, I mean, if you have to be a true crime person to get and appreciate this, but if you are, boy oh boy, I tell you, go get it. And they're also doing a sequel book at some point, the pair of these guys, about I don't know the guy's name, but he's the guy who wrote, I think, Seduction of the Innocent, the whole like comic books are evil. It's that guy. Um, and they're doing another kind of true crime story about his life, like a biography. So definitely I am going to be picking that up, but I cannot recommend Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Done more. It's so, so good. Um, and if you get the opportunity, the I think this hardcover, this cover specifically is like, it's the variant, whatever, the limited edition. They have a slipcase too that has like this and the A cover, and then I don't know, a paperback or something. So depending on how much money you want to throw at these guys, there's a whole bunch of different options you have for what cover you want to see. Next up, I know I talked about this on the show before, uh, but I had only read the first two issues or something. But it's Rob Williams did this AWA book called Out, and read this. This is about uh, Comanche code speaker, code talker, wind talker, um, who during World War II, who gets captured by the Nazis, sent to a concentration camp, um, in a castle. But the concentration camp is also home to a vampire who is being held by the Nazis against his will. Um, and the Nazis want to use him and his power to, win the war. Um, so the story revolves around our hero, our Comanche code talker, who speaks enough of the vampire's native language to talk to him. He has to communicate for the Nazis because they don't speak his language. So he tries to communicate with the vampire and convince him to work with him to help everybody escape. But on top of that, there's also sort of an underlying queer narrative. So that the title has a dual meaning, where our hero is um, hinted to be. I mean, I guess at the end it is out and out, but he's gay. He meets another gay POW, and there's that story underneath there about otherhood, where the folks that are in this POW camp don't like our hero because he's native, and the guy that he falls in love with, is a blonde haired, blue eyed, whatever, Norwegian guy. But he's in the closet, but he understands what it means to be different and just wants to get out. So um I really liked this story. It was an impulse purchase. AWA had a Halloween sale, so I think I got it for $4 or $5. But yeah, it was great. If you like horror, if you like um, period stories, if you like war stories, if you like queer stories, there's something in there for everybody, I think. And I would definitely recommend it. It was really good. Read it all in one night. once I got past those first two issues, um, went back, read them again, and the whole thing. So really good. Another recommend. Next up is an ongoing, um, but it's I don't know that it's still going, but anyway, it's the Avatar: The Last Airbender comic series, and I've got this in the Dark Horse Library Edition. Um, would I recommend this? I would recommend this for kids, teens, young teens, and anybody who's a fan of the show. It picks up right after the show ends, and the first volume, this one called The Promise, um, has to do with the gang trying to track down uh, Zuko's mom. There's a lot of hanging plot threads in the series about that. So this kind of picks that up and goes forward with it. And one of the co-creators here was involved in the creation of the show. So they had direct input. I don't know if this is like, big air quotes canon, but I'll say it's canon. And on top of that, I would recommend these library series too, because not only are they huge and oversized and gorgeous looking, but in the margins of all these pages, you get kind of production notes, specifically from uh, Michael Dante DeMartino, who was the creator of Avatar. Uh, he gives you insights about, oh, we picked this up from the show. This ties back to this. Um, and then you get notes from the artist as well. I wanted this character to be wearing this because it was a reference to this, that kind of stuff. Um, they're absolutely incredible. I think they've got 5 or 6 volumes out, and each one's kind of a self-contained story, which is nice. It's basically just a big trade paperback. Um, but boy, oh boy, if you're a fan of the show, I tell everybody, if I find out they like Last Airbender, you got to read the comic books because they're they're so good. Um, what I have not read and need to and want to is the Korra series. They did, another 2 or 3 volumes of Korra in that same library style. So, um, they aren't cheap, but you can get them, like anything else on sale for $20 a piece. So, Avatar: The Last Airbender comic book series, 2 thumbs up. And last one I've got here is one of the first Kickstarter books I ever backed. And I don't know if you can get it anymore because I know that the creator had a hell of a time getting these printed and put out. And I want to say it like drove him to the brink of bankruptcy, but it's uh, Ben Templesmith's Dagon based on the H.P. Lovecraft story. And I've got this fancy ass slipcover here, but as problematic as H.P. Lovecraft is, he's the father of science fiction and horror, cosmic horror. I am if you're a fan of the show, I'm a huge fan of Templesmith. 30 Days of Night was one of the books that got me into non superhero comics. So when I saw he was adapting an H.P. Lovecraft horror book in comic form, I had to snap it up. It's haunting and gorgeous and all the words you would use to describe 30 Days of Night. It's that in an H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror setting. Um, it's definitely worth tracking down if Templesmith doesn't sell it. Would I recommend you pay eBay prices for it? Maybe, if you're a die-hard Templesmith or Lovecraft fan. Um, I mean, it's good. It's really, really good. Uh, I heard a rumor or something, saw something on Twitter that Templesmith might be doing a reprint of it. There were some kind of rights issues. I don't know the details, obviously, but if you can find it, go buy it because it's well worth it. Um, so that's it. That's all I got. Indie books. Um, join our Discord. Fire back at me. I know this one's pretty short, but I can only talk by myself for so long before both of us get bored. I mean, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me. So, uh, let's see. We did all the housekeeping stuff up top, so we'll be back next week, hopefully with more than just me. And love you guys and be good to each other. We'll see you soon. Bye.